All right, we're picking up back where we left off after Chapter 0 with the prologue, as we had just said before I hit the record button.
Yes, and I can't remember if there's a graphic for prologue or not. I think there is.
Like a title
There you
card.
go. There's chapter 0 and
Oh, no,
WG.
no.
There
Wait
we
a
go.
second. Go back. Let's see Adam's scores sheet.
Yes.
On chapter 0,
Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
I was a sea bass, but I wasn't a sea
Oh,
bass.
you had a C for discussion? Deduction?
No. See, first timer bonus,
Oh,
CBASS. It says sea bass.
I see it
But
now.
I didn't get the SS because I took some hits.
Yep, with
The
stem.
threshold for getting double S ranking is fairly punishing, but to get an S is extremely easy.
It's weird. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what deduction and judgment are.
Whether you got things right when they asked you things, I'm assuming.
Oh,
Like if you
but how's
have
that?
to pick one thing or another.
I guess
So
so.
during
But
the labyrinth part of it,
yeah, no. I guess just in my mind, like how is it distinct from stamina was kind of what I was.
Stamina is when you get hit.
But pretty much, if you
Stamina
get
is sort of,
anything wrong, you take hits.
In combat. Like in the what's it called when you're fighting against the
RDM, reasoning
Yeah.
deathmatch.
Reasoning Deathmatch?
I would agree that stamina feels redundant from the fact that deduction, judgment, and RDM together are sort of a function of stamina, as in if you did bad in any one of those. But I think what stamina is in general in this is that like if you keep missing one or two all over, like eventually your stamina's going to tank.
Also, you can
Right.
take damage in Reasoning Deathmatch without not knowing what you're talking about.
That's
You
true.
just get hit by
You can.
statements.
And the other funny thing about RDM, I think of reduced damage from Valkyrie Profile because we just played it, which is like the only RPG ever that has that stat. Anyway,
That
so yes, chapter 0. Oh, I zipped past it.
world.
WDO versus Amateur's. And then, so this is where you meet all of the detectives who actually survived, right?
Correct.
the ones who
On
came by
other
different
trains.
methods.
Yeah.
Who came by the alternate
But apparently
travel
the
means.
corporation also countered them. So not like out of like 20 investigators, only
Yes.
5 made it alive.
Do they ever tell you how many were traveling here?
They said that they split it up in different groups and different paths.
But they
So
don't
we were
say the
the-
total number?
There's no explicit body count, no. But you just
Okay.
it's sort of what Aaron said. You just assume that there was 20 or so, and only the small handful made it through.
Like maybe 5 different methods
of
of
4.
coming in and only 1 survivor per?
Yeah, 5 or
Pretty
4
much,
groups
yeah.
of 5.
Yeah.
So interestingly,
Best of the best.
I wonder if there's going to be anything to the whole like home base being a submarine, like if it's just a quirky thing or if it actually goes mobile at some point during the game.
It's going to go mobile some
It's
point.
gotta.
It has to.
It's going to turn into a mech.
So I thought they purposely had the submarine to be more like hidden. But later down this chapter, that's not really true.
Yeah, and
No,
plus,
they
as
know
you
where
see
they
on the screen, it has a neon sign hanging off it. Not exactly sure what that says because I didn't try and.
Could
Look
say
up the
Nocturnal
kanji.
Detective Agency. That would
It
make
probably
sense.
does actually. That's actually probably a really good guess.
They're in the sewer. They're literally in the sewer.
Or you have to go through the bad part of town to get here.
Yeah.
Actually, that's an interesting observation. So it's in like the, it's
This is
the slums.
It's in the slums, in the waterways.
In the worst part of the slums.
The worst part of the slums. This is about as far of kicking them out of town as they could get without actually kicking them out of town.
Right, they're not even occupying land in the war.
Correct.
Yeah, they're on the water.
They're on the water.
And
That's
how
actually Yeah.
And that's how complacent he was about like just taking whatever they give him, and so him being the chief doesn't really fit well with me.
Yako is
I
making the
don't
best of a
know.
very, very bad situation.
Very true.
Yeah. And I think that,
He's sure.
and I think there's something to him being like, right. It's telling that he's really one of the few or only detectives who've survived because he kind of has a little bit of a, I don't want to say a go with the flow attitude, but he knows when to pick his battles, so to speak.
Also, he
State worker
manipulates them.
mentality.
He totally manipulates them all the time.
Yeah, no.
If you listen to the things that he says.
And there's an illusion, which we'll get to in chapter 1 when they give you the timer, like you only have this long to investigate. The scene ends with him looking at a picture. I still have more to do, and he's looking at a picture, and you're like, I wonder what's on that picture. But anyway, we'll get there. So I'm not, jury's out on the chief for me. Like, he's a little bit of a quirky and goofball type, which I don't mind. So him being the chief, I think I like the way John put it. He's making the best of a bad situation.
I will
much
say
so that they were.
At
Go ahead.
this point in the story, when I played through it first time, I enjoyed how the chief was basically this dude who was just scrounging around. Also worth noting, he is not a master detective. He is a regular detective.
Yes.
And
No
so he has no fortes. He's not strong. He's not fast. He's just a dude who's just trying to scrape by. And that's what we know about him for now.
But he totally has like art on his clothing.
That looks like blood.
Well,
No,
he's
blood
got
in this
goofy.
game's
He's
pink.
got he's
No.
got goofy Danganronpa stuff going on.
Yeah.
I really do
So-
think it's worth noting that your trouble when you first met him. So even
Yes.
though he appears to be totally a slacker and useless, he can manipulate situations in ways that people don't even understand.
I
He's
think
a
that's a
schemer.
good observation. But I also think there's a little bit of a cultural context too, where I think in the Japanese culture, right, slackers are more negatively looked upon, so to speak, right? So I think they're intentionally portraying him
Or he's using that as
a ruse.
a
A
ruse.
disguise.
Because he's just like he's hiding in the sewers, living in a submarine. Nobody knows, nobody suspects him of anything. He's probably way more capable than you take him for.
Time will tell. I'm sure he will have a moment or two, but it hasn't happened yet as of the end of chapter 1. So, the other detectives. So you can kind of see this shot's as good as any. Although,
Yep.
The one
what's her name? The cat girl.
I can't remember it.
Well, it's funny. I call her the cat girl because she's the ditzy one.
It's clock something.
Lockford.
Clockford.
I call her
Yes,
less interesting Sonia Nevermind, but
Yeah.
Yes, she's
Yeah.
definitely Sonia. Never mind. That is a good
Yeah, I called her
comparison.
Bonehead instead because, boy, just how did you survive?
I know.
Maybe we'll find out.
The previous detectives were definitely more intriguing than the ones we have now.
So you think.
Oh, you
Right,
don't
I'm
like
hoping-
Thunderbolt?
I haven't gotten
What's
any
that?
further either.
You don't like Thunderbolts?
See, I actually like Thunderbolt too.
Not
Destiny
really.
Go or whatever.
Nah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Who's
I'm
got
not-
cheeks like Pikachu?
All of them, I like it. He was the one who grabbed my attention the most. I don't have a basis to like or dislike him because you barely see him.
Right.
Other than he
Nah.
gets duped by Halara.
The guy in the fireplace is my type of mood.
Not everybody
Oh,
can be Halara.
Vivia Twilight. I don't know about him. I don't know about him.
I
We'll
liked
see.
I liked the people that I thought we were gonna have. So I'm in a hard place right now.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
dead.
How did they pronounce? I said Halara just now. Is that how they pronounce it in the dub?
Halara
Hello,
Nightmare.
yeah.
Hellara.
Oh, that's what some people say.
Wow, that's her affectionate nickname.
We'll get there too, because when you listen to the sub, it's interesting. She doesn't say anything. She calls it Akuma-chan. Basically, like demon
Yeah, that's great.
child. Yeah.
Demon girl.
So, yeah, Desahiko, Clockford, Vivia Twilight, and Halara, who you get to know much more in Chapter 1. But it's just them gambling, and so you find out right away that Halara is all about the money. I get all the cash. And then So this is kind of a brief intro to all of them. There's the candy thing here, and then number 1, Fubuki.
Yeah. What's up?
Interestingly, they all have Japanese first names, don't they? Even though they don't have like non-Japanese last names. Like Fubuki sounds Japanese to me. Desahiko. Halara doesn't really. No. Anyway.
Ones that at least translate over. Then you have somebody like Hell Smile, which is clearly not.
But Yomi is.
Exactly. So it's like first name Japanese, last name.
Yeah.
Last name. They put something crazy there.
Metaphor. That's how I like it.
Yeah, Thunderbolt. Yeah, interesting. So, and then they get a call from number 1. Did I skip anything folks want to?
No, but
other than they introduce him as a trainee.
Yes, they confirm what was a mystery, which was why there were 6 instead of 5, which is that our protagonist Coco Head is a detective in training.
Lowest man on the totem pole here.
Yes.
Then there's the mystery of why would you send a trainee?
He must have some amazing power that they wanted to utilize.
This is also something that's interesting because he is established as having some powers of his own, when typically, according to them, you refine your powers in the WDO. These are questions I was asking myself during the prologue, because I'm like, interesting.
Yeah, he apparently has the power of cooking.
Nah, he forgot that one. Was that a Gumshoe Gab where he could totally botches the cooking, or was that actually one of the scenes?
That's the beginning of Chapter 1.
Yeah, okay.
He asks him
because what happens after that, the chief sends him out to go find people, then he goes on a merry jaunt and gets himself in trouble. That's Chapter 1.
So, and then there's number 1, Hiro. And he introduces the ultimate Kanai Ward's ultimate
secret, which is related to the great global mystery.
Nice and highlighted for you. And repeated for you.
Oh, don't worry. Secret. They keep saying it multiple times.
I was going to say 3 dialogue lines in a row. Ultimate secret.
There's 20
ultimate
more.
Secret. Ultimate secret. Yes. And then that's more or less kind of what it introduces, right? So he gives them, all these detectives, the charge to look into the ultimate secret. They mention that may have something to do with the unending rain, which is actually really, really funny. Just coincidentally timing. I'm watching One Piece very slowly with the girls, and there's a whole arc about a desert country where like rain goes away. So I'm watching the show where there's never rain and playing.
You
the
mean
game
like
where
New York?
Always rain. Dude, yeah. Burn ban and everything. Although my sump pump's still going, so
we still have water.
Yeah, if there's any drops to be had, it's in my groundwater. Anyway, anything else from the prologue? New goal.
Those were the major points that I can remember from the prologue.
Yeah, and it's really just a taste of all of the characters, right? You see Halara's money grubbing. You see Deshiko's temper. You see Vivia's kind of just gonna hide and read, and you see the ditziness of Clockford. Fubuki.
Spooky Clapper, yeah.
Thankfully, everybody just starts ignoring her.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out like what her power is, right? Because presumably the structure of the game is each case you kind of pair up with one of the detectives and kind of share their power and whatnot. Like, so it'll be interesting to see.
It's
what
gonna
her
be something to
forte
do
is,
with time.
Yeah, Clockford. Good point.
Yeah, it's gonna be stopping time or something.
Zawarudo. Anyway, what was this?
Yeah, what I was gonna ask what that scene was.
This is
Who is
like a
this girl?
trailer.
僕なのか迷路のように入り組んだ排水管をたどった先にどんな秘密が眠っているのか
That's Yomi.
And his lovely right hand.
Right hand. Yeah, that's her name, right?
Lovely right hand.
隠
Yeah.
す闇に立ち向かう探偵たちの物語が
Forgot about that scene.
始まろうとしていた
Actually, it's funny. This is like the attract movie, so to speak. And that's the hotel that you haven't been to.
5
yet,
hours
as
into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love that, don't they?
Well, certainly, this game must be pretty long. Because Chapter 1 took like 7.5 hours for me. And I
Same.
didn't go slow.
I do like how they put the voice actors down there.
It's just weird for me because I'm watching in Japanese. So Koi Dao is not who did Zanza.
This
So you have Asian guys.
Did you Tang?
Yeah. He's a lot of everything for the last 10 years.
Who are you talking about?
The guy who did
does-
one of the voices, Adam. He's in a lot
The
of
guy who
dubs.
does Yako Furio's voice. The
Gotcha.
Chief's voice. He is from Like a Dragon Yakuza. He's Ichiban. He's the main character. He's Satoru Gojo from whatchamacallit?
I don't know.
Jujutsu Kaisen?
Oh.
Yeah,
Jujutsu
Jujutsu
Kaisen.
Kaisen. Yeah. He's everywhere, and he's been everywhere for 10 years. I was like, oh my god, that voice is burning into my brain. Who the hell is that?
I do find it funny that this character here, not her, not him. I just find the name Makoto an interesting choice considering Danganronpa. Clearly, this is not a good guy.
Abstaining from comment.
What if we're the bad guy?
What a twist. I don't know.
I don't know. Who kills people at the end of every case?
Actually, Coco Head gets into Yuma struggles with that every time.
I've gathered that.
Yes. I don't know. Interestingly about that though, they certainly the best they could do, and I'm sure they go somewhere down this path, is kind of I'll call it the relativistic path of, right. Neither side is all good or all bad. Like they both have their thing going on. At the same time, Amaterasu does not come across as, at least the peacekeepers don't come across as, they're really the only representatives you see of, at least so far, of Amaterasu, but they don't strike me as stand-up fellas. Then Chapter 1. You were going to say something, sorry.
Well, in regards to there is references at the very end of Chapter 1 to an internal struggle in Amaterasu between the peacekeepers and the organization itself.
Really?
Yeah, I
Yep.
remember that.
The very,
Ah,
very,
don't
very
jump
end.
to it now.
Jump right to the end.
Let's.
Let's take it in order.
I'll say put that on the back burner.
Yes, don't forget it.
Just because you mentioned it, I will acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Also, don't do chapter 1 in front of your wife. It's hard to explain things.
This is the deep end of anime and weirdness.
I was gonna say, unless your
about the
wife
people-
has seen many of these.
People nailed up. Yeah.
Oh man, her comments were hilarious throughout the day when I was doing it. She's like, the fuck is this Sailor Moon shit going on?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that happened in the first chapter 0 too.
Yeah, the weirdness of pulling the sword out of her throat.
Yeah,
There's
that's
yeah.
probably going to be
puking.
everywhere.
She caught me like a person walking in, like you watching like a sex scene. It was just as awkward as that.
Show her Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Oh, gee, that's basically what that scene is.
Anyway, so the Nailman killings,
This
and
was
of
fun.
course, surprise. Well, I would be jumping ahead by going there.
Just stay on track.
No. I was gonna say, of course, the church is the bad guy. I'm amazed.
Spoiler.
Not the whole church.
Sheik-san. That's what they call him in Japanese.
Okay.
I don't know. What do we got? So, this is the breakfast scene. Makes a crappy breakfast, and then
He
this
goes
is a
looking for-
flashback.
He goes looking for everybody. Nobody wants to go meet. They all want to do
They were
what
supposed
they're
to have a
doing.
meeting.
Right.
He gets sent for a stupid errand to get a book. You know, this is basically, hey, this is what these fetch quests are.
Which there's 4 of them. 4 fetch quests, I think, is what I came across anyway.
What a nice change of pace, and when it comes to side quests, when you complete it, it teleports you back to the people that contracted you,
That is nice.
Yeah, that's kind
And
of
then-
nice.
and then the quests don't seem that terrible. Also, you need like a notepad to remember like what like white mask, white pants.
You don't even need to. It's in the options
Chat
menu.
logs.
Oh,
Pretty good.
So, I'm gonna throw it out there. The quests, I don't know if they get better, but they actually quite irk me. And despite that, I will probably do them.
They're not
They're just
much.
garbage. They're just, I don't know. I'm gonna go as far as being a little
How about saving the boy?
inflammatory.
Saving the kid.
yeah, the
What, the
ghosts.
ghost?
That was good, pretty good.
Now, wait a second.
You get to choose who do you save, yourself or the kid? And I chose the kid, and he's like, I entrust you with all the children.
Yeah.
If
I
you
like
think
that.
about Persona, which is basically what they're doing with these quests, maybe it leads to deeper stories.
It may, but I will say for the 4 that they had here, it's a little bit of world building, but for the most part, I'm just kind of like, why? Like, you get contracted for the quest, and then it shows up on the map. Here's where you go, but you still have to either walk there or take the bus there. But it's like, if you're gonna show me where on the map, just give me the whole scene one right after another. Like the walking around is just filler. That's my complaint.
The
It's
flip side-
filler.
Walking around and then finding everything to, like, inspect, investigate, talk to get points is filler as well. But if you're doing that, then doing the quest is part and parcel.
So with one of the side quests, I picked up the side quest, was doing the main quest, realized I was getting close to the side quest, did a little bit of detour, did the side quest, and then came back to the main quest. So you could stack them up all like that if you want to.
Yeah, that is definitely not what we did.
Of
Oh yeah,
course
we
it isn't.
could have done it that way.
We basically said, "Oh, they're available. We'll go do them."
You
Some of
assumed...
this is-
Go ahead, Johnson.
Go. Yeah, some of this I'll say is more of a MMO quest management skills that the three of us have because we live MMOs. And so if you give us a full quest log, we're going to optimize the hell out of it because we'd be like, okay, we can go here, then we can go here. That's sort of the mindset I get for a lot of these quests. By the way, for the content, does not get too much better.
Oh.
It's
I
world
didn't think-
building. It's world building. You may have some lingering questions after some of the cases. Some of those get addressed. But
I could see
Yeah.
particular. I mean, he certainly doesn't. I mean, he's so naive. It doesn't seem that way. But if somehow during the game, like Yuma took a turn and like you realize, wow, the guy I've been playing this whole time is a complete bastard. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if it takes a turn like that, certainly these, all of these quests kind of build you up more in the direction of like, oh, he can't help but helping. Oh, he gets involved. I mean, you got like the baseball scene at the end of the chapter and whatnot that kind of paint that a little bit, but it gets even strengthened by he helps he delivered the letter for the runaway daughter, putting himself before the kid, right? They all seem kind of ordered to making Yuma seem like a good guy.
You only know Yuma since he woke up from his amnesia. Is my thought on that one. We don't know yet.
I'll say that
Assumedly, he's a good guy.
that intention is one of the underlying drives for the side quests. I'm not going to say anything else besides that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thought is, what kind of asshole makes a deal with the god of death to lose all of their memories to gain this power?
Someone who thinks the ends justify the means.
Now, on the mention of memories, have you guys been collecting those trophies all around the world also?
Yep.
The
Sparkly
gumshoe gab things?
Yeah. Have you done one of them?
I did 3 of them. I collected more, but I only looked at 3 of them. I only looked at the ones with the chief. I found 2 with the chief and 1 with Halara that I watched. I got some Vivia and some Fubuki ones that I didn't even watch yet. I figured I would wait till in their chapter, assuming that the game is kind of structured as in like each character has a chapter.
Yeah, I grabbed one and accidentally did one real fast, and then realized, oh, this is like a side conversation that's not part of the main story, but like a little memory bead. So I need to, that.
Right.
We does anime too, which makes sense because this game is overlap with both.
Wait, there's an anime for this game?
No, I'm looking at the credit set that Pete posted in chat, and this guy does a whole bunch of anime and game credits.
He's Koji Kashin from Boruto. He's people in all the Danganronpa games.
Oh, really?
Remember Ganta?
Somnium Files.
Exactly!
Oh, okay.
He's Yasuhiro Hagakure, the fortune teller.
But
this guy was he's mooning Hasa Iwai from Persona 5.
But wanna know what's funny about all of this? Every single title you're listing, we watched in Japanese.
That's unfortunate for you, because some of these dubs are really solid.
They've gotten better over the years.
They're fantastic.
It is to the point these days, I feel, that dub and sub is a personal preference. Like, some of them will be of comparable quality to each other. So it's just whatever you care to do.
Interesting. It's been so long since I've tried watching a dub. Going back to our earlier discussion about the chief, right? This one here is kind of leaning a little bit into this whole idea of the wheels are always turning, and he finds clever ways to. Right.
There you go.
This one is looking for him to say that he's impressed by what the chief's saying. Right, like this unexpected.
What's your image of me anyway?
So that's the first one. What was the second one? I forget. I unfortunately didn't save the titles. It just jumps right in from. I cut the video such that it's right here. Just the thing itself. This, of course, has the Persona effect. If you have 2 of them and you watch them, if you watch them back to back like we did, it was kind of like, I'm back. I was just there.
The music is so Persona.
ああ、ユーマか。もう俺はダメだ。
So
It's like
Yeah,
the
so we did a
hottest
couple of
take on
those.
Persona. It's great.
I picture us walking around Tokyo listening to this song.
something the chief is good at. I got this one wrong, by the way. I think I put ability to put smiles on faces.
所長のおかげだと思い
No.
ます所長のもとにいるから
雰囲気作りか。
Nothing better than the
それ
mood
なら子犬でも飼えば俺のやることはなくなるかもね。
ああ、完全に拗ねちゃって。
Wrong. Wrong choice.
ダメだ所長の立派なところはとにかく立派で
I love it. The 3 choices you have are basically something and 2 choices of nothing. It doesn't have the choice. It's not on one of the keyframes. Oh well. Basically, your choice. There we go. Let's see, as in nothing. Anyway, you're great, which is I can't think of something.
Which I think is the right answer.
It is.
Because that's what he goes with after that.
Yeah, that's what he goes with after you. But this is like totally set up for you to pick like which one is unlike the others. The middle one. It was one of the 2 nondescript. Anyway. Hotel.
ないですよね
VV.
砂の城
You go get him, and he just stays there. He's like, hey, go get me another book instead of me going back and meeting with everyone. And
The
then
hell.
these 2 like, we're eating. We'll get there eventually. So nobody wants to go back. You do your request because Yuma's a do-gooder. And then you go over to Ginma,
崎地区とだいぶ雰囲気が違うな相変わら
which
ず
is
雨が
the highbrow area, to go to the clock tower where there's been a killing. You can also do some quests here, which I think I did. Yeah, there was the one quest about saving the kid. From the creepy man. Creepy man.
I accidentally selected myself.
What happened?
What happens? Do you fail the?
So he just goes ... The kid disappears, and you wake up from a nap. So you go back to the parents to say, like, to tell them what happened, but the kid's there. But the kid's like, I never met this person before, and they're like, hey, thanks for trying to find our child. He just showed up by himself.
Oh, very interesting.
Weird.
And then the kid's like, oh, hi, bye.
Do you still get the credit for completing?
I didn't really look because I immediately reloaded and did the correct because I thought it said, because this was like 3 o'clock in the morning, do you want to save the child or yourself, or which one do you want to sacrifice? And I was like, I'll sacrifice myself. And then after that, I was like, I'm going to bed. I messed up. Woke up and then completed the rest of the morning with the front of my whole family, which I tell you is more embarrassing than.
Poor Snooty.
That's funny. So in katakana, the big radio tower here or whatever, reading down it says Amaterasu Shiana in katakana.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, in those neon letters there. So Ginma district, and then hey, there's a kerfuffle at the clock tower. Locked room mysteries. Rain Man.
No, man.
Yeah, sorry.
Rain Man. Nice.
Rain Man.
He definitely,
Oh man,
he definitely can drive. Definitely can drive. His mother lets him park in the driveway. Lets him drive in the driveway.
yes, Miss Nightmare.
That would be Rain Man.
And then Halara comes to your and I think she like she's like, who are you or something. Oh no, okay.
No, she doesn't say that, does she?
No.
命に関わることだ。覚えておくといい。あ、はい。
So right off the rip, kind of chastising a sense of judgment and altruism, and basically.
Okay,
saying
hold
there's
on.
More important things.
This just in your sub version, the Chief's voice is Dio's voice from JoJo. So okay, one way or another, this guy's awesome.
Yes, it does sound like Dio.
Fascinating.
Now that you bring it up, because that's also something I watched.
In the end, it was Dio
His
all
eyes.
along.
That must be a spoiler.
So once again, continuing to build up Yuma as like this good guy who just like the Midoriya type, like his body jumps to help people, right? Like, hey, I'll help you, kid, even though I have no clue what's going on and I suck.
I definitely do feel like they're setting us up for he was a horrible person before he lost his memories.
Well, the option is certainly there, but all of this stuff seems to imply that, right? Like if you kind of get a new beginning, so to speak.
You become somebody new.
Well, I'd say not only that, you become more childlike. Like you revert back to kind of your more
innocent. What's the game we played first? I can't remember.
Vagrant Story?
Yeah, remember in Vagrant Story, the main character has, you know.
Oh, he had the
yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
Yeah, no, it's certainly possible. So, gonna help the kid. They tease the whole baseball thing, which they come back to.
Oh, I forgot that they teased that. Okay.
He said the only thing of value that he had was the baseball, and so he offered him payment.
Got it.
Right, and then once again, Halara, money's the only thing that's worthwhile. Forget your sentimental baseball crap.
I'll kick you right in the face, kid.
And then you go in. Let me know if I'm going too quick.
Keep going.
You investigate.
There's so much.
Say again?
There's so much, so keep going for sure.
Yeah, investigate the scene, get some clues, already get a sense of what's going on. Choking.
So, as a side reference for Aaron, Danganronpa, which you may already know this, but I'll just bring it up, is famous for having people have pink blood instead of normal colored blood.
Thank you.
So you see how the murder scene here, everybody's got pink blood. This is a direct reference that I'm going to call out here. And so you'll see every time you're going to see blood in this game, it will be pink.
I was just about to ask that question.
So
because I was like,
Yep. This is a callback that the game people are intentionally doing because they are guessing that most people that are playing this game are either fans of or are aware of Danganronpa, which is very famous for having massive, extreme blood splatters, but everything's pink.
Which, if you don't feel like actually playing through other games like this, there are easier ways to digest the story of some of those games. They made animes for the first one, and then,
all three, don't they?
The anime's too fast.
I don't think there's one for two. It doesn't do the story justice, but at the same time, it doesn't put you through 6 or 7 hours of this. Sure. Belaboring it.
Yes. So...
If you just want to know what's going on, the anime is a good option.
It's short.
Go up back,
having just watched it again. It's 12 episodes.
Yeah, and if you are interested in Danganronpa, I would highly recommend playing them in order.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You have to.
You can't not. Like later one's completely spoiled earlier.
Which is 1, then 2, then
V3.
V3. Nah.
The anime is arguably a side story.
I would do the anime and then V3.
Yeah, that would be release order.
That is release order, I think.
I thought you were gonna say Ultra Despair Girls.
That's its own thing.
That's its own thing, and you probably don't want to do that if you're embarrassed about this game.
Yeah, no, don't play Ultra Despair Girls.
I might.
I love that game.
I might wheel that one out for a lonely stream day.
Oh yes.
Oh, dude, the kids are so freaking disturbing.
They're so weird.
It's like it it takes Resident Evil 4's mechanics, which are good, and then like craps all over them because like it's the over-the-shoulder view and the same aiming, but the combat is completely different.
It's
from
a not
Resident
as
Evil
good
4.
Resident Evil 4 and a not as good Danganronpa plot, but it's all there if you want it.
And
That's true.
it has one thing that it needs to have to be a great Danganronpa.
What's
You know
that?
what that is?
Blood?
No. It does have
Oh,
pink blood. though.
Nagito.
It's got Nagito.
Nagito's in. Yeah, I knew.
So when you all
Or,
got
as
this
his
clue
name
about,
is, Servant.
Servant, yes.
Go on.
so when you all got this clue about the clogs, do you immediately start looking at everyone's shoes, like I did? Be like, all right, who's got the clogs? Who doesn't have normal shoes?
Who
covered?
doesn't have sneakers?
I burned
Yeah.
those in the incinerator. Oh no.
Yeah,
I
wait,
at the point that we investigated this, I basically knew how the person pulled it off. I just didn't know who it was at that point.
Okay. Serious question. Why the fucking microphone?
Oh, the
Why?
guy with the
I
microphone?
lo-
Because he's a
Yeah,
I
dick.
actually really like that.
I'm missing what we're talking about.
It's
the
just one of those
megaphone
weird
that the
Yeah.
guy used, the inspector.
Seth,
Oh.
Seth Burrows.
That's his thing. Just like the first guy's thing was being an asshole who loves money.
Who has money symbols coming everywhere.
But I am going to throw something out there since this is now coming up. You later on find out at the end why Seth was trying to cover stuff up. He was getting kickbacks, so there's money there. You got, what was his name in the chapter 0?
Can't remember his name.
The guy with money teeth. And then Halara. Like,
Are you
all of
suggesting
all of the money grubbers, right?
Yeah.
Like all of the peacekeepers so far.
I'm trying to
Aside
remember
from maybe
my
Yomi
favorite
and-
character's name.
But Seth did it because he was ordered to collect money for Hellmouth.
Yeah, that's where they go to. They just do that to make him seem like a complete.
Oh, guess I'm dead
unlikable
now.
character.
Oops.
Swank
But I
cast him
actually,
out.
I like
Swank.
the whole. Swank, yes. I like the whole megaphone thing. I thought it's just kind of one of those like weird character quirks.
That's a Phoenix Wright thing.
That's a good point.
Phoenix Wright always has that.
That is a very
This
good point.
game is a mixture of Dangan, Persona, and Phoenix Wright. All three. Keep paying
Okay.
attention. You'll see Phoenix Wright stuff in it.
That's a
Okay, I asked because maybe there's some sort of trope when it comes to this whole thing about he's supposed to be really soft-spoken, but like I can understand you. But apparently all the people that were knocked out on the ground couldn't.
I don't know if his English delivery is the same way, but in Japanese, his delivery, not only is he, like, I think they translated it as soft-spoken, but his delivery is very, I use the phrase, he has kind of a lazy voice.
Deliberate. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
He's kind of like that. He's soft-spoken. He's deliberate. He says the
it's
things that he
slow.
means, and when people don't listen to him, he demands that his megaphone be put up close to his face. Please wake up. Like, he doesn't start screaming. He just has the megaphone turned up.
He doesn't really get any
Same.
angry.
Oh my god.
I think it's just a way to kind of throw some humor in, and
It's a combination of gag and just character weirdness.
They're all weird in some
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
because
And-
one of the things you'll remember about him is the megaphone, and when you do the death matches later, the reasoning death matches later on, that's kind of the announce of the noise too. Like there's the megaphone sound effect that announces the spawning of noise.
I have no hope that Swank is going to be back in any real huge capacity, because I think they're going to pick a new Peacekeeper of the Week every one of these cases, but that's okay. They're all weirdos.
It'll be interesting. I don't know about that. So there's Seth with the megaphone, And then
Find out who did this. Ask around.
escape.
There's too
Run
many
away.
weirdos on Amaterasu's side that we have to meet from the trailer.
True. We're introduced to two of them
No,
at the
it's
end.
just Makoto, really. That's
No,
it.
there's two of them at the end.
Love this song.
Me too.
Oh,
出身なんか
it reminds me of something.
でも助けを求
Oh,
める声を
Persona
無視する
5.
ことはできない
Yeah.
This has total vibes of Beneath the Mask.
誰もその声に
Yep.
耳を傾けようとしないなら
For us, Final
All the-
Fantasy
all the
XIV.
Constantly
rain-
raining.
Yeah, the definitely the rain sound from Beneath the Mask.
For
Oh,
us,
yeah,
Final Fantasy XIV folk, it sounds like Solution 9, which I really like.
The synth and the neon leans in from that vibe as well.
I really
Mas-
like it.
Masafumi Takada has a bunch of stuff like this in his repertoire.
Yes.
Yeah, now we're 5 million in debt, guys. Yay!
5.5. But
Shien,
Oh yeah,
5.5
sorry.
and 800.
What is Sheehan an actual monetary thing that's just for the game?
I think so.
So from this scene, this is interesting, right? Because you could take this conversation a couple ways, right? Certainly, there's sort of like Yuma being a trainee, kind of her giving Yuma the sense of here's how to be a detective, and I'm assuming other detectives kind of give him multiple views like throughout the course of the game, so you'll get different views of kind of like what it means to be a detective. And she is certainly ends justify the means. But there's one thing in here. It was something about, I think it's in this discussion where she talks a little bit about her past. Oh,
今日俺様ちゃんこの人を悪魔ちゃんって呼ぶことにするから
But Chan, there it is.
Akuma-chan. And she always calls herself Ore-sama. So she's elevating herself. Some cake. Do I have to pay for that too? So, oh, that's why the 800 for the cake.
800 for the coffee.
So
Yep, the coffee that you order while waiting.
So if you feel like doing the math, right, you could kind of bring this to rough real-world equivalents because you know that the cake and a coffee is 800. So
Or just the
800.
coffee's 800.
Yeah,
Just the coffee
he
is
doesn't
800.
want to pay for the cake.
Like, I'll hire you now so I don't have to pay for the cake.
gotcha.
It's
so
probably
the
the
coffee is
equivalent of
800.
it's probably the equivalent of yen.
Yeah, it's
So
probably yeah.
at some point later on, they mentioned that the amount of Shien this is enough to buy a luxury car, and so 5.5 million is about $55,000,
It's like yen.
which would then equate this to being yen because 1 yen is about a penny in very loose, not really accurate but close enough translations.
It used to be
1,000
until
to a
recently.
dollar.
It's been great. For the past like 2 years, it's been like 150 is a dollar.
Yeah. Just for ballpark numbers to help you figure this out, I would agree. The Shien is a yen.
Yeah,
For just
no, I think so.
if people are throwing money around.
No, I think that you're probably spot on. What's her pride as a detective?
Having no
Oh,
obligation.
money. No, she sees
Right.
money as the pride of her being.
探偵としての僕の教師だ
Basically, she's not gonna sell herself short, right? Like,
Yep. And you find out why all of this is true in
yeah.
during
that-
the investigation.
Oh, is that where it is?
When you're
that's
in the
what I was gonna
underground
bring up.
casino.
Ah, okay. I was looking for it here. The always being called a liar because she had the power. Is that what I'm
Oh
talking about?
yes,
Yes.
that's in the underground casino.
Yep.
Yeah. Because
When you go to touch her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Oh,
talks about
yes.
how she
When you
can't
use
stand other
coalescence.
humans.
Yeah.
But
you
we
also
didn't answer the most important question about this whole entire thing. Is she a he or she?
she's a they.
Oh, it's definitely a she. It's just throwing it out there. I don't know. They didn't give. I feel like if they didn't even introduce the question, no one would have ever asked.
Shinigami keeps asking. Because that's Shinigami. She's going to
But
keep
that's what I
making
mean
it
by
about
they
that.
throwing it out there. I mean, like, breaking the fourth wall. None of the, like, she is certainly visually designed to be consistent with female anime characters. So, I'm assuming they're looking to subvert there as well, but that's what they do.
Well,
in these
there
things.
is the androgynous character trope as well, but
See, I know. But
I think it's because they chose.
visually,
I think it's because they chose a very feminine voice. Like, if you were gonna go the androgynous route, there are definitely voice actors. Now we're watching it in Japanese. There's definitely voice actors who could do that voice very differently.
So this is the Japanese voice.
確認しておくが標的は釘男殺人事件の真犯人で
No, I think the
間違いない
Shinigami was definitely doing the mess around with the main character and make him question.
Like everything.
Interesting.
Make him
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Well, I'm guessing that when you finish off the gumshoe gab, that will be kind of like the focal point of that line of scenes.
So
would be my guess, but
these gumshoe gabs
social links,
are social links. Okay, I think I actually fell asleep.
confidants, whatever.
Yeah, I think I fell asleep.
you want to use.
You're like playing that. I'm like, I don't remember those. Unfortunately, I keep falling asleep while we're playing because the music is so chill. And so I miss scenes sometimes.
We have all the video.
I know. I'm going to have to go back and watch the gumshoe gabs because I don't remember
信
them.
じる極めて愚かな思考だな
I heard something else. I don't remember if it was this or something else, but this concept of trust being foolish, like trusting in someone else, like just today. What was that?
Were you watching it on One Piece?
Yes, it came
I was
up
gonna
on
say
One Piece.
that's an anime thing.
Yes, yes. I was like, I just ran across that. All people lie, all people change. Oh, this might be the conversation I was. Suspect all others. To believe in others, shallowest concept one can uphold. And then provides no basis.
I like you must suspect everyone, even me.
I trust my instincts.
It makes me wonder though, like, are we to actually question every single thing we see in this game? Like, is that what where they're leading us?
She wants you to be a good
Yeah.
detective.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting back before of, like, you know, this is her mentoring, so to speak. And then
Yes.
there's going to be
Nope.
other mentoring from other characters.
Yeah,
It's
don't be
good
too
advice.
sentimental.
It's good advice to not trust anything and to check everything yourself if your goal is to get to the truth.
Right.
Because if you start
But-
taking it for granted that somebody's telling you the truth, maybe they're lying to you and that will ruin your ability to figure it out.
Right, but nonetheless, there's this line right here. So clearly Yuma's basically saying, yeah, I got it, but I'm going to do my own thing. And I'm going
But I choose to
gonna
trust you.
in my gut. Right. But I actually really like that because, like, conceptually, I think sometimes people think of like trust and belief as like compelled, but it's always a choice, right? Like, I choose to believe what Maria's told me about her life before I knew her, right?
Oh my
I'm
God.
not compelled to believe. What?
I'm looking up voice actors still. Shinigami's voice actor.
I'm like, is what I said that, like, stupid?
No, I'm sorry. Shinigami's actor is Leon from Eiyuden Chronicle.
I haven't
Wow.
played Eiyuden.
Yeah, it's the same person. I have
In English or Japanese?
English.
English. So is
Some range.
Halara's
Yeah.
is Halara's voice in Japanese or in English similarly feminine?
Apparently,
Yes.
yes. I looked it up as things that she had done previously.
No.
the voice
I
actress
just
had
meant
done.
delivery. I
Yes.
meant delivery.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Kind of neutral, kind of very to the fact. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in terms of this concept of trusting your instincts, there is also a value in honing your gut instincts. If you doubt everything, then you will also ignore something important that maybe your instincts were telling you, hey, you should listen to this. It's almost like you can't discount that part of it either.
Right. She's the hard scientist, right? I'm only gonna believe
What I see right in front of me.
the scientific evidence and not any of the not anything that's not a logical deduction, right? Like
Right.
gut feel and stuff like that.
We'll see if some of the other characters have different perspectives.
Oh, definitely.
I would assume they would.
They definitely will. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything? Truth must be found. There was a.
No emotions.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's it.
Naive. Okay, I don't think I have anything else from that.
Yeah. From here, we start investigating. We pivot over.
Yeah. Investigation. Oh, well, no,
Each of
not,
the
not
old
quite
crime
yet.
scenes.
There's the scene where basically Seth shows
Yeah.
up and you have 3 hours.
Yeah, these
This is
flowers
what I
don't
was-
live that long when plucked, so you have till these flowers wither.
Yeah, but this is the line I was referring to right there.
Is it a picture or... Okay.
It's
Picture.
something.
We don't know yet.
Right, could be
I'm
like
sure
a
we'll find
letter
out,
or...
but we don't know
Laura's-
yet.
Halara's Japanese voice is 2B in Nier Automata.
What?
Yep.
That's actually a good comparison.
Talk about
Yeah, no,
no emotion to the fact.
Yeah, interesting. Right? Yeah, I think one of the words that was thrown out there was androgynous and to be
Android. Androgynous.
Yeah. And then before you start the scenes, oh no, you interviewed the church members first, which is funny because where is it? Okay, there's the eyes, but then there's the fox. Did you guys see the fox?
The statue, the
And
fox statue.
And it's kind of like, oh, okay, so the Fox Church, these are definitely the bad guys, or the perps, right? Like,
Well, you haven't been introduced to anybody either,
yeah, where
besides them.
I was immediately looking at their feet. Like, show me
Dude,
those
you've been
toes.
looking
What's
at
going
their
on?
feet anyway. I know you. There's an ongoing feet joke with Aaron.
I know, I remember our conversation at our last gathering about that.
It's not my fault that they keep putting feet in front of me.
Well, and the nun, she looks like a fox too. She's got the ears.
A lame ass fox.
Right, so the church's symbol is a fox. Right, the foxes are the tricksters in Japanese, so it's like, oh boy, you know where this one's going.
Well, I mean,
I think they tried. Go ahead.
ostensibly, they weren't doing it for a bad reason. Well, the guy who was doing it wasn't doing it for a bad reason. He was trying to give people hope and help them meet the justice that wasn't being met. If you think about it.
When did her arm break?
Prior to the case.
Okay.
They were
The other
definitely.
guy who did it, he was just an asshole.
Yeah, he's like, I like killing.
Um,
Well, let's get that's for the end.
We got to keep moving.
Think, yeah,
okay.
think about it. They were trying to lead you though to the nun being the culprit.
Absolutely,
Which-
because she was the metal.
Yeah,
Metal-
actually, the first time it asked to pick the culprit, I picked her.
Oh
I'm
no!
like that's too obvious. It's
Yeah.
too obvious.
Death metal.
I was like, yeah, I was like, the priest is too obvious. I'm gonna go with the nun because
Well,
because I didn't put two and two together on throwing the key in the busted.
Well, my
hand.
deduction about that was, all right, looking for someone skinny because fat shaming's best in this game. Woohoo! Go fat. so fat guy was out, so that's good. So then it was the small guys. Then
The servant guy gave you a scrap of evidence that totally gave something away. That's why I would never think
Exactly.
it was him.
No, I would never. I never assumed it was him, but I kept telling myself it's at least 3 of these people that the problem is.
Yeah, I immediately was like, okay, it's probably all of them except for the servant. And I was wrong about that, but I knew there was more than one.
So
Coalescence. So I jumped ahead to the first scene. Coalescence. And
Here's the hold my
then-
hand. And she doesn't want to hold. Well, if you go back, she explains why.
必要な行為ならば
それなら必要なんです。
するかゲイは最初に言ったはずだ。支払われた依頼料世の人
Why do you keep skipping it?
嫌いなわけじゃない。
Yeah, 'cause people
I don't
realize-
hate just you in particular. I
despise
hate
all
all of
humanity
humanity equally.
That's one of the points that I wrote down here on my note sheet.
I don't trust anyone except the
死
dead.
んだ人間だけだ。キャッキャッキャうすうす分かってたけど悪魔ちゃんはやっぱり心
So this might be. Is this where they explain?
Well, you keep skipping it. You should just let the scene
'Cause if-
play out.
It's like a 5-10 minute scene.
Yeah.
They all are.
And then
this was so much fun.
She's got a cool power. I like that power.
this is the.
The chalk outline on the wall.
This is the dialogue I was thinking of when you correctly pointed out that it was down here in the lounge.
やがて他人や物に触れた時に視覚的なイメージが頭
I
に
don't
流
know
れ
what was
込ん
up
で
with
くる
Shiniga.
よ
She just like,
I know, I noticed that too.
それがサイコメトリーの一種だということを知ったのは物心ついてからだ
Just taking around the horn.
Oh yeah, this
Love
is
this
definitely
echo in the
Shiniga's
background.
dangling around, but
Yeah.
the
優
complete
秀な
same
訓
vibe.
練生扱いされたが
It's
不満だった
Because I had a point on this one.
有効な能力にできるはずそう考え僕は血の滲むような特訓をして
It's the one about always being called a
3日目に
liar
こ
as
の
a
能
kid.
力に目覚めたんだ
Yeah, it's well. What would happen is
さっき
because she would go in and have post cognition to see the murder scene, she would then know things that people would not believe, and they would call her a liar, which is infused her lack of trust.
It's funny though because the way I think it's right here. Because when she's talking about it being
僕にしか
convenient,
見えていないものを依頼者に説明するのはいつも信じようとはしない
this
嘘
right
つき
here.
呼ばわりされることも今まで少なく
I found this very, very odd because at this point they already kind of painted her as a, again, I'll say very mechanical. I don't know exactly what the right term, right? But they've painted her in a way where she doesn't trust her gut, really only believes what she sees. So the fact that she's bemoaning having been called a liar and that people don't believe what they cannot see, that's like her creed. So it just struck me as odd that she's complaining about that behavior in other people when
The context of this
her
that I'm
own-
getting is that she would have clients, and she would use her powers to then deduce something from what she sees, and the clients do not believe her.
第二の事件は銀馬地区近く
And she'd have to convince them.
And so she would have to talk through what she saw and why she saw it.
It's annoying. Because she knows
No,
it to be
I-
true.
I know, but again, if she has a mindset of
You need to prove
you have-
things.
right,
Yeah.
you have to doubt everything.
There needs to be proof, and the only proof that she has is that her power lets you see that. They would have to
So-
take it on faith. Yeah, I get what
So
you're
what
saying.
I would say is this. Somebody who doesn't believe in anything but she can see has been given a power that's a torture to her. Because now she is being forced to deal with the exact attitude that she has, and there's nothing she can do about it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. It's
I'm-
her cross to carry, right?
Correct.
Interesting.
My point was
Now,
like, how
if
is-
she had said something in the dialogue like, "Oh, how ironic," or just made reference to the fact that, man, that stinks, but she doesn't go that far.
well, for me, I was me questioning like, how will this hold up in the court of law? And it won't. And she could probably get really pissed off and like she's like, no, I clearly saw this. This is what happened. This is all the details and facts, and no one will believe her in a court of law because it's just, oh yeah, we would take your word that you have some power to see back when someone witnesses the crime.
The best thing is, when you're dealing with a mystery dungeon, there is no court of law and people just die.
That's what I was just about to say. I was going to say, luckily, this world doesn't have a court of
But
law.
outside of that bullshit labyrinth, in the court of law, I can see why she gets jaded and likes to drop kick everything.
That's very much kind of an ends just, or I'm not sure the ends justify the means type thing, right? But
It's a cynicism.
No. I'm talking about the labyrinth itself, like. Right, the price of the labyrinth is someone's life, right? So
Yeah, it's actually very disturbing.
Hey, they deserve it. They're the culprit, aren't they?
Well, let's give it everything we've got.
Let's really lean into this.
So then you got this locked room. This is the only one that I kind of didn't immediately know exactly what was done. Like the other two, I got through very easily. This one, I was like dancing around it.
This one I called bullshit on because no one has that great of a frisbee throw with a key.
So interestingly, there was an implication there at one point that the key was on a string, so they could like, if they had a bad throw, they could pull it back.
Nope.
But I think that's false.
Nope. They show the string. I know what scene you're talking about. It's when they're pulling the string back and the string landed next to the key, but not in the key. They purposely say in another scene that they purposely threw it underneath the body to then use the line to then have the body drop on top of it.
Right. Yeah.
So it clearly is like, hey, he had an excellent frisbee throw of a key through a small little hole to get underneath the body about like 20 feet away.
Yeah, because the funny thing on that is he doesn't get a mulligan.
He
And
just
not-
Once
don't.
the key is inside, he can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
Not only that, it seemed planned, and it's like, well, what was your plan if that failed?
There is there's what I call a case arms race that goes on in this game, and
Things just get stupider and stupider.
they need to get more and more elaborate. And there's going to be more than one time that you're like, really? This is your plan?
This one pissed me off.
Why?
When we get to the
Okay.
section that we talk about of how this was committed, I'm like, I call BS. There's no way you can finger a nail or nail something with your finger, like a inch of your finger.
Oh, yes.
The premise of you have that much space to aim and use a hammer to drive a nail past the window.
Yeah.
And they specifically showed a picture of him using his finger to put the nail in the doll with the key on it. I know I'm skipping ahead, so I apologize.
No.
but
You're good.
it's
I
in
didn't have
context.
much to say.
it-
I was
that's the-
totally not onto the fact of that one being a copycat. But
Oh, I knew it was. They mentioned it right when they mentioned the choking.
the hammer back of the head.
Yeah.
Ligature mark
You
scratch.
You muted yourself during that. You went.
I'm
let go,
muted?
push to talk.
Oh,
You let
Oh,
go,
sorry.
push to talk transiently.
the that's beautiful. I'm an idiot. The ligature marks didn't have scratches, and also the
Yep.
blow to the back of the head.
That doesn't mean it's a copycat. That just means it's different circumstances.
But if you are a serial killer and you always do things the same way,
Exactly. That matters to you. So if it's different, it's somebody else.
yep. And they're trying to make it look like it, especially if you know that one of the people really loves that serial killer.
It always shows up.
And it's always there. You need to get your watch repaired. Oh, wait! We have the watchmaker. Sorry. What a good character.
Yeah, I like Seth too.
I liked his gag too with the
With
megaphone.
Oh,
It's
me
hilarious.
too. I agree. I totally agree. So then,
I like when Halara shows up, beats down all of his goons, and then he's like, "You're the one who did it." There it is.
言ったろ必ず駆けつけると
It's the only time he's shown some kind of
すみませんこいつにはよーく言い聞かせておきますのでここは何卒穏便にセス先生
Seth Sensei.
Seth
they
Sensei.
call him.
Nice. Master Seth.
Anyway, so then you got spawning the labyrinth, the Sailor Moon stuff.
Stuff that makes
Same as
Snooty
well.
incredibly uncomfortable.
And with my wife right behind me, yes.
Yeah.
She
You're like,
even
"What are you
commented about the extra jiggles. I'm like, I can't explain.
It's anime weirdness.
Pretty much.
You should just make a sign that says anime weirdness, and whenever she comes in, you just hold it up.
Exactly.
It's one of those things. It's like it just is what it is.
They like
You did-
this
like,
stuff.
if you're inoculated into this madness, then you see stuff like this, and you're just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
love
it doesn't
Walking
even
on it,
phase you.
You're just like, what weird fetish crap? You're just like, no, you don't understand. They're just like this.
I
Exactly.
told her no. I'm actually solving crimes. Let's not.
It's true. You can't. There is a level of knowledge you need to have.
No. I'm actually being a detective right now. Don't worry about this extra stuff. As I pull out the sword, I'm like, no, damn it, wrong time.
And then immediately afterwards, she vomits up the keys, and then Halara asks about the keys, and then that's the line where she says, "Oh, so they come out of a different hole."
Oh,
I'm
Do
just
you
like-
want them to come
I was just like, yeah. It's just like this is like the best case scenario for somebody unindoctrinated to walk in on your damn game.
This 7-minute span here is not a good one.
I do like how now you bring guests with you also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
Coalescence will cause people to come in now.
Yeah, and they definitely kind of introduced the new rule set associated with like the memory loss and whatnot.
Spices the labyrinth up a lot, though, compared
It
to the
does.
first case.
And now you're explaining like your understanding of the case to someone else, and it helps you remember things that you may have forgotten. Also, it's a really good way of reminding you what's happening.
And it's not just Shinigami who's clueless most of the time.
Did I didn't actually use it in the reasoning deathmatch. What's her support ability?
A shield.
They're always a shield. It's just
it's always a
it's
shield.
just who's
That's-
giving you the shield.
Oh, that's lame. Okay, I thought it would actually be different, like mechanics.
No, and it's the shield. I would say that the shield is for people who don't know what Danganronpa is, which I think is a really good idea.
It saved me.
Yeah, so like, the shield is something that I think the rest of us probably wouldn't
I didn't
think
use-
of normally. You don't use it because you're used to dodging and you're used to thinking while you are running through. So like if you have that muscle trained, then the shield is almost redundant. But if this is your first time, the first Danganronpa that you're playing, then having to deal with the noise, the white text, the multiple, because this is the first dungeon that we have multiple statements that you
People.
can attack.
That too.
And so, like, from a gameplay perspective, this is a step up in difficulty, which, again, we wouldn't notice, but they put the shield in so that if this is somehow your first Danganronpa game, you're not going to get wrecked. Because this is the big difference is in regular Danganronpa, you can sit there and watch everything play out. But in this one, you have
Right.
to move.
As I only had 50% of my stamina at the end of this, the shield really did help me, allow me to then
Thanks.
cycle twice and think about like, all right, what is actually the thing that I have to focus on?
Nice
What
setup.
key am I supposed to answer with? Also,
Dude, this is so disturbing.
Every
This
time
is
that she
the-
cuts his throat.
yeah.
Yeah, look.
But
And then the blood's red.
That's not. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it
his
is.
blood's red. And like, what's that about?
That's actually what
What
made
a-
me think that this game didn't have the pink blood until it had pink blood.
Makes
these
me wonder if
questions
that
were a
means
lot
something.
easier.
Yeah, I actually agree. I thought this case was easier than than the zero case, personally.
Yep. There were a lot of things thrown into the first case that were basically red herrings.
Right, less
Yeah.
red herrings.
So I don't have much. I mean, so you solve each one of the rooms. I don't know. Are there any? Any
Yeah,
points
the
folks
first
wanna
one-
talk about?
The first one was simple, easily escaped from the hatch, and then because of the nails bending down. The second one was actually confusing, the mansion one, because of the fact that, yeah, he had to throw it underneath the body perfectly. That hurt my brain a little bit.
Right,
I feel like they could have
threw the BS
explained that
flag.
better. Like you could have just like locked the door behind you, but you put the key down there and then you pulled the string.
Oh yeah, and then my
Yeah, like-
son
like
came
I-
over, said, "Oh look, a DK barrel." I'm like, "No, this is not Donkey Kong. Go away."
Mm.
Hmm.
This one was annoying to me because once you're in here, you can't go look at your evidence. Like once you're in the Shinigami puzzle, you can't go in and look at your evidence. And Maria and I are looking at each other like, rope? We're like,
But
crap.
you can take the solution keys and feed them to her
Yes.
and potentially
Which
get
we
a
could have
hint.
done.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah,
But
My-
still,
it's a string.
My problem is that I picked a skill that slowed down the barrel turning and actually made it worse.
I would want a skill that makes that barrel turn faster.
The barrels get way fast later. Just
Oh,
keep
good.
in mind. But for now, yes. I knowing that the barrels get stupid fast later, I took the slow one and then I spent half the time. Like Shinigami's yelling at me that time's running out. I'm like, yeah, I'll spin the barrel, bitch. Yeah.
that's your fault.
But I know, but I did it to myself, so now I'm just sitting there mad waiting for the G to show up.
This game would be much better if you could control the barrel's direction of spin.
Yeah, I agree.
If not
That
the
you
speed.
could just push her left or right, and yeah.
Yeah, push a button to switch it from going one way to the other.
I definitely thought Dangan 2 had the best anagram mechanic
Yeah, it was good.
by a long shot.
Is that the one where
What
they
was
combined
3?
together?
Yeah.
That one was so hard, though.
You guys want the balloons?
Yeah.
I don't remember 3 anymore. It might be
Like
time
at
to
the
play them
very
all again.
end, when there were so many of them, it was like, ah.
What is
But,
he supposed to represent with his crazy hair?
He looks like a Sailor Moon character too.
I think he looks like a plant of some sort.
Yeah, he just has a bush for hair.
But like the
The
person I
Yeah.
think of is like Mandragora type thing.
Yeah, because he does have like a root coming out of his head.
Yeah, he's like a
Because the previous ones symbolize something that went along with their inner selves. So what? Something about the eye and a bush. So I'm like, I immediately said, "Oh, so this is God because of the burning bush and the eyes of like an angel."
no. So the eyes were the same ones on the window of the church. So if you looked at those and you happened to notice his garter
Hey.
there or whatever, as well as his necklace, you realize, oh, he's actually somewhat affiliated. Like something's going on between him and the church. Like it's not just
Good catch.
peacekeeper trying to.
So I was
Obstruct for
right
the
that
sake
it
of-
was something about the religion. Just
He was covering up.
So you were
Yeah.
kind of right.
no, that's awesome insight.
Yeah.
So then, like I said, I had the most trouble with this one, but it was really the barrel and the string, and then this one I did not get this right. But the consequences for getting
Moved,
it wrong were
yep.
so minimal. Like you could just go around and click everything, and like still have more than half life. Then throw it back in. Here's where you're throwing the BS flag.
Thank you.
I get it. I understand. And then the art gallery. This was like really short. Like I went in and was like, oh, that's all I had to do. Although this one totally got me the first time.
The art
gotta
gallery
push
is
the
simple,
button. Where was it? When you're outside and you have to push the button? Yeah, I hit it.
I did not.
I was like, I think the answer is no, but I don't have any other choice, so I press it and I'm like, nope. That was the game effing with me. Yeah,
Yep.
I get it. Particularly because you need to put force in the direction that would knock it over,
Yes,
too.
that's my issue with it. Your hammering ability would need to be like perfect. Because not hard enough and it's not getting driven to the doll, and too hard and you push it into the room prematurely.
Right, but it's two separate steps, right? Like now it's already nailed, and then you knock it towards the room.
Yeah.
So it's advertised as two separate steps.
Right. Odds are you would hit it too hard and knock the whole thing over, and your plan's over.
Nah, you have the key in your hand. Just keep trying again and again.
I guess.
Unlike the second one, which had to be executed perfectly, this one could be redone any number of times. So then,
I mean, with the second one, if it didn't get under that guy's body and it was just somewhere near it, it wouldn't have
wouldn't
been the
matter,
same
I guess.
effect, but really it would have been a locked room mystery still. Except the key would be lying somewhere else on the floor. It's like, oops, I screwed up. Oh well.
Logistically, it's not as bad.
Yeah. Culprit is you,
So-
father.
I was right and guessed like father first. Because first room, he's skinny. Second room, he had two arms.
Each of
And
the each of the cases that's not the copycat kicks out one of the people that it could be. So the most modern one has to be somebody from the clergy, so it's not the worshiper. The first one has to be somebody who is nimble, so it's not the servant. And then the key one, you need somebody who has their dominant hand that's not in a cast. And so you, by process of elimination, you remove all of everybody else.
Yes.
yeah, it was the throwing the key one that I overlooked, and when I knew it was between the two of them, I'm like, it can't be the priest because it's too obvious.
As Columbo would say, just one more thing, father.
But I got a kick out of Sheik-san for some reason,
Shiksan.
just because of Zelda and Sheik.
Haningwa Shiksan.
Yeah, Hanin is culprit.
Ah.
Sheik-san. So,
And then he's trying to protect
This was
him,
cool.
And that's
This was fun.
I love how they just bust out the tier sets when he goes evil. Massive shoulder pads, crazy necklace.
So awesome. Boom. No, it isn't.
Trying to get all the noise. So then you go through each part of the process of elimination that was just described, and then
You have
then
to
you
bluff.
get into the needing to bluff. And this is where the feet / shoe prints come in.
There's the Danganronpa V3 lying.
Yep.
Yep. Does make me want to play the third game again.
Perjury.
And then then it introduces that, hey, there was something left. It's funny when they were like something left, because I thought they were going to get a little more into motive, even though had already kind of alluded to it, but very briefly. Instead, it was just the whole copycat thing.
And we get a stupid barrel again.
So on this one, question. So you have to pick the barrel. I went straight to 3. Did anyone pick a different one? Like, what does it do if you pick one that isn't 3?
Yeah, the question was which one was different compared to the other 3. And so I went to 3 also because of that fact that it was a hammer.
Right. Okay.
I did not pick a different barrel. I don't know what happens.
Makes me want to go back.
Me-
but too late.
Oh, Adam.
Too late. So then the death was different. I fed the keys. Just that key actually helped me because I wasn't 100%.
This barrel minigame I hate, but I do love the final animation that comes out of it where she shoots beams out of her eyes and goes. That's my only
Dude,
favorite part of
When you posted Hot Chip, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yes, I do remember this.
Been a long time.
Dude, it's totally inspired by that. 100%.
it. Totally is.
It's 100%. It has to be. So then, work up a copycat, and then it's the worshiper.
Yep.
All right. So how did you all know it was a worshiper?
Because you,
Knowledge.
yeah, he showed up at every case. He was an enthusiast, and then the fact that he was super thin.
Yeah, like I even missed, but the thin didn't matter.
It did to me. I don't know.
I even missed the like the final reasoning with like the paint can and not being the first person on scene. Like I hadn't even thought of that at this point. It just like by process of elimination, it was just like, oh, it's.
Well, with me, it always came down to, is it going to be the worshiper or the nun? So I already had him pegged. I wasn't sure about the priest, but I had him pegged.
So then you got this.
I like his
that's in that-
Frankenstein's monster form.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a good. He's got the moon.
They all have
crescent
this.
moon.
I think that's the like one of the symbols of the church, right? The father had that on his chest too.
There was the eye.
Well, there
did
also the father had a big old moon pendant as well.
Yeah, interesting. And then I call this file Kaiju Shinigami, even though I think they call it God Shinigami.
God Shinigami.
Yeah.
The
I
God
renamed the
stands
file.
for like
What?
it stands for something though.
Yeah, it's an acronym.
The animations of this is so weird to me.
You mean when she's running towards the screen?
Yeah, like her face is just.
No, wanna know what it is? The head's not moving enough.
Okay.
It's like a
hair's
Terminator.
moving, but not
It's a
the head.
Terminator
It is a Terminator. Thank you.
T2. Yeah.
So question about this just mechanically. As the game goes on, does this become harder?
I doubt it.
You need to do faster reactions, and there's longer sequences, but it's always going to be rock paper scissors.
Okay, so they never add a new permutation of. William.
Well, the guess is if they did a rain code 2, they would make it harder. If you've got to consider your ramp if you're going to do subsequent sequels. You can't put it all out there if you're going to make more than one game.
What's funny is I didn't even quite figure out this evidence until like it gave me the question, and I was like, oh. I was like, I guess I have to figure this out now. So, I do find it striking how many solution keys there are in this game and how few of them are used. Like I feel like in Dangan you used to use almost every piece of evidence at least once.
In the very
This has tons of noise.
in the first game, you used every single piece of evidence. In the second game, they started throwing a couple in that you wouldn't use, so that you couldn't use process of elimination.
And the third one, you use things that didn't even exist.
Exactly.
Lies.
Great
Lies.
onset destroyer.
Great onset.
So I didn't understand what was the cause. Like, why did he kill that lady?
Then just admiration for the Nailman, I think.
Maybe it was a request that he didn't get a chance to get to yet, and he's like, I want to try it.
Well,
Because he was.
The game was saying that she's a. I don't even want to say the word, but
Yeah. Well, the So the premise is that the larger premise of the Nailman is that undesirable people are nailed to the forest outside the church. So she was one of those people.
Okay.
And it was her. It was, yes, the vulgar language used to describe her activities is why she showed up as a target for the Nailman that then the worshipper decided to emulate the killing out of his own fascination.
Well, I mean, you also could go from the standpoint of saying that people were basically praying by nailing things to the trees, praying that these people would be killed for whatever they've done, and the Nailman was granting their prayers.
That is the priest's rationale, yes.
Yep.
He was giving people hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
All they had to do was ask Shinigami. She's a death god.
And
Whereas this guy's hope, his whole purpose was just to be the Nailman.
Right, just do something that he thought was cool.
Yep. I love the Nailman.
I do like how in the denouement sequence you can see the perpetrators compared to in Danganronpa that it was always the
Shadowy face. Yeah.
Yes.
Shadowy figure through the whole time. But that was something I'd always thought. I'm just like at this point we know who it is. Just show them in these cool storyboards and they.
It was you,
Right.
Terror.
There you go. There you go. I
Where's
will. If you go back just a little bit.
トリックを使ったんだ
Toriko.
He said go back a little bit.
Oh no, he's fine.
Yeah.
Forward. No, he's fine.
Okay.
He used his fingers.
He's pushing it after he nails it in. But yeah, that's the amount of force he needed to push the painting in, and he somehow nailed the doll in with the same amount of force, or lesser? Question mark?
Only thing that bothered me during this case.
I mean, if you could grip the painting somehow on the side and put
There
some
was so
force into
little
it.
room.
Yeah, I know.
There was.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah, you have to. This is the kind of thing that you just have to trust the logic. There are some other things. So, I have a larger grievance that in this case, we know nothing about the perpetrators when that was such a big part of earlier games.
Yep.
Is the why, and the why in this one is almost an afterthought to the case itself.
But I think in some ways that's a byproduct of one thing that this format, I'll call it, allows that Danganronpa didn't is outside individuals, right? Like you can introduce new people every case because you're not all locked up together, right? So in Dangan, they're all locked up together. You know it has to be one of
The people that you got to
you've
know.
already spent some time with. So just structurally, right? I think that's a byproduct of, the world, so to speak, that they're using as a impetus for this.
Yeah, having outside characters and having people that aren't part of the main plot come in is fine. But in this one, no, these people don't even have names. They are so irrelevant that we couldn't.
Yeah.
Father and
Cheek-san.
worshipper.
Worshipper. Father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know the best
point.
part? Their names don't matter because they're dead.
Well,
Well,
yeah. Go ahead, John.
Sorry.
yeah. It's just like how you expect us to care about any of this if you guys don't even care enough to give them a name.
Yeah.
I 100% agree on this point.
No, I think that's an excellent point. I agree. And it never hit me.
How can you feel bad for them? They're the bad guys anyway. Why should you even give them a name?
I
Just
do
kill them.
prefer. I do prefer the punishments in this one. They were too graphic and dark and Dangan, where this is kind of goofy.
They were destroyed by the power of love.
Double kill.
Apparently.
And this is Persona 5 palace crumbling.
Oh yeah.
It's oh man, they weren't even trying to hide that one.
The Mystery Labyrinth is a palace that's focused around a mystery. Makes sense.
Oh, I did like when she like reanimates him.
I came back to life.
And I love the delivery here in Japanese.
皆さんうわーいかんだいやーごめん釘男は俺様ちゃん私だったんだよね
This was funny.
And I don't know if you noticed, he says, "Ore-sama." That's what she always calls herself.
Nice.
It's just, it's an uncommon way.
That would not be something that you would get in English.
Lost in translation.
これはダイイングメッセージってやつだから
Dying message.
嘘
I
は言わ
missed
ないよ
this.
釘男は私なんだ横で倒れている信者はただの便乗犯教会を調べれば犯行に使った道具とか証拠品がいろいろ
But what I love about this is she's like, "That was lazy. Will that work?" And she's like, "No problem. It'll work." And then it doesn't work. I got a kick out of that.
証人もいるし、これにて一件落着。
It's like, oh. I couldn't quite hear it. I for some reason that really tickled my funny bone. Just the whole sequence.
Priest should have used the bullhorn.
Yeah.
Talk about mumble.
It's like. So the interesting thing here is, Yomi is like hell. That's like one
It's
of
the
the
after-
Japanese words for hell.
Yeah, the underworld.
So, like,
Hell, smile.
yeah, hell, smile.
He's a good guy.
Absolutely, he is.
Oh yeah, clearly.
In fact, I don't know if you remember when they remade the first Phoenix, right, for the DS. The Japanese name was Yomi Gaeru. It's basically
Yep,
like back
out
from
of-
hell, or like back from the dead.
Resurrection.
Yeah, resurrection. Back from the dead. Like Yomi is the land of the dead. It's not necessarily hell. It's
Yep.
like the land.
It's
of
the underworld. It's like Hades.
あなたたち何
What are you doing here? Or like, who are you? This was kind of interesting to me. Like they're totally going like for him being the creep, but like the whole like them confessing or like Seth basically saying, "But I was only following your orders." And like him basically ignoring the fact that everybody else heard it. Like it's one thing to ignore the fact that like he didn't try covering it up or lying or anything. He just like is so arrogant and he thinks himself above. He's like he doesn't even bother to say like don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking
Because
about.
it doesn't matter
He, like,
because
doesn't care,
he could just
yeah.
punish him.
Yeah.
Well, the message was quite clear afterwards, saying, "All right, well, Seth, you're dead." So,
Yeah.
and then he gave that threat to all of us, saying, "Don't follow anything else, or you're gonna follow Seth's example."
Sizable kickbacks. Because I know one thing that was bugging me throughout that I was surprised they cleaned it up because this was actually one of the things that was bugging me was sort of like, why is the Peacekeeper even want to cover it up? Like, it's kind of, if it's just some random church to the other point where with like, don't even have names, like why does he care to cover this up? So the fact that they actually went back and addressed it, I kind of liked because that was one thing that was bugging me.
ちょっと待ってください。私はヨミ様の指示で。
何か言ったかまったく何も聞こえねえな
Which
Like,
again
that's
is
the
funny
way
because
that-
he's talking to the mumbler who's using a bullhorn.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the mumbler who was using a bullhorn said, I didn't hear the priest, he was mumbling. This is all a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all spinning around the same thing in different angles.
Yeah, and it says you let yourself be corrupted. How does he kill him again? I forget.
They just take him away.
Just take him away.
ムカつくぜよ
This is why I'm saying villain of the week.
No, I think he's gonna.
I think he'll be back.
Well, he'll be back, but he's gonna be like at the end. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not the next one, I doubt.
No. I think he'll be back at the end.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not like you're gonna get to deal with them again in another mystery dungeon.
Yeah.
Like that.
It'll be these guys.
So the question here is, who was he talking to? Was he talking to Yuma?
To us now, the detectives.
All
Everybody.
the detectives there.
Oh,
Yeah.
friends. Gotcha. So then they introduce these two, and then they play baseball. It's more or less.
Super secretive submarine.
It is kind of interesting how they kind of kept going back and forth about the acknowledgement, right? Like she acknowledges him in the labyrinth, but doesn't remember it and whatnot. And this is it's some form of acknowledgement, but it's basically you tried hard. Where in the other one, she was like, "Oh, I'm impressed. Like you figured it out."
Yeah, but that's actually like it's a way bigger compliment in Japan than it is here. If you say, "Oh, you tried your best here,"
yeah, you should be.
It's like getting slapped in the face. But if you say in Japan, "You tried your best," it's a compliment.
Well, because they're always telling people to do your best.
Exactly. So it's a higher compliment than we would take personally.
And then.
Oh, look. I mean, there's a piece about the boss. Look at what's on his chest.
Oh, he's got the eye on his chest.
Interesting.
That means the church thing isn't
I just
over
noticed
yet.
that.
Oh.
Right?
Good eye. I didn't put.
Good eye.
Aha! But
Oh, that takes me to many theories.
And Yuma's in
symbolism. The symbolism is repeated.
So here's Desahiko, who's really good at getting covert intel, hearing about the power struggle going on.
Okay. Yeah, I totally missed that.
So yeah, this is something that may become relevant later. That Yomi is pushing into, because Amaterasu Corporation is the company that is Umbrella Corp that runs everything, and then Peacekeepers is their logistical security that turned into police force, turned into militia when they basically kicked out everybody else. And now we're hearing that Yomi, who's in charge of the Peacekeepers, is pushing into the company itself.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
And
I did not internalize that.
And so there's again, because the number one, Nomba 1, sort of just threw them in there and said, figure it out. They're trying to work through it from what they're hearing.
Yeah, interesting. Oops. I jumped ahead. Don't stick your neck out recklessly. That's directed at. That's definitely directed at Yuma.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, because this whole incident started because he intervened in the Nailman killing.
Right, he agreed to help. And then the baseball. I thought that, I don't know, I kind of liked that they kind of went back to the baseball and they had catch. For some reason, I thought that was a fitting end.
Your father just came back from prison. Shouldn't you be with your father?
No, he's working on clocks. It's Japan. He's working.
Right from prison to work.
But then you can't have the heartwarming moment of catching the rain. The ball never slipping out.
Well, they're not throwing it that hard.
少しだけ探偵のふりを続けてみようと思う。
Because
So many implications.
Like what?
I don't want to say right now. I feel like I could say things that
Well, it's not a spoiler if you're just theorizing.
no, but if I guess something, then it ruins it. So I'm gonna keep it to myself for now.
Never.
Let me see the next case.
I totally disagree with that.
Maria, I'm not allowed to guess, but you are.
He's not allowed to guess because it's not a guess with him at this point. He's played the game.
You heard my thoughts. Please share yours.
That maybe he wasn't actually training to be a detective. He was actually someone infiltrating the detectives, pretending to be a trainee. And then for whatever reason, he makes this deal with the death god to get power or something. And
The only thing there though is that would imply he has like some amount of subconscious memory. Although it didn't.
He's so full of
Dangan too may have done that a little bit.
What I'm
with
saying is he's so full of
certain
guilt
character.
that they're primed for that he was actually a bad guy all along, and they hint at it in the very beginning of the game. Oh, you had to be the killer. It's setting it up for him to have been a bad guy before he lost his memory. And then he gets to make a choice at the end.
You know what? I see that. Yeah, he could definitely be a double agent, but then because we talked about how you losing your having an amnesia will make you a different person. The different person is actually a good guy, and then that may pop up in the future saying, "Hey, you were actually a bad guy. You're supposed to infiltrate the OWDO," and then from there you actually started working with them instead.
Right, and then he has the conflict at the end to choose to be who he was before or who he is now.
This is where the Danganronpa meta messes with me, though, because I feel like that is very similar to a certain character in one of the Dangan games.
Well, they could just be hinting at it.
And I'm going to be intentionally very vague there, but
right.
I feel like the blueprint... I mean, there's certainly different, like, minor differences in details, but I feel like that blueprint...
Every story ever told has already happened before.
But that's why I said the meta of Dangan, like...
Right.
It's the same...
But see, that's where Dangan is great, because Dangan will make you question everything you think you know. And maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong.
I mean, that story is just like Star Wars, like Knights of the Old Republic. You are the bad guy, and then you got your brain wiped, and then you become a good guy, and then you get revealed that you are the big bad before, and then you take your choices of life from there. So it's like you said, it's the same story over and over.
Yeah.
It's a good theory. I see it.
We'll have to see if we get any more hints in the next part of this.
I don't think I have anything else.
Thoughts on Halara as a character?
Great character.
Thoughts on?
A great character.
Very dislikable.
What?
Yeah,
like her.
I'm on the fence.
Out of that first group, Halara is my favorite. Out of that new group,
she's the most interesting for sure. She's way more interesting than the other characters. She is.
Pikachu.
No, but I don't know that I like her. I'm hoping that they give us reasons to like her later, so I'm on the fence.
So,
I mean, other than the chief.
I like the chief.
There was the whole cat picture thing.
Yep.
You must have fallen asleep for
I
that.
probably fell asleep for that.
So
During one of the investigations,
Halara
after
has a
holding
softer
hands,
side.
It's funny how when softer
For
sides are always portrayed with animals.
Well, you know, the thing about
But not
Halara
human.
is there are. I don't have an issue with characters who are unemotional and guarded and all that. It's just I really don't like the other part of it where the arrogance. I kind of like a more subdued version of this character, which is why I see where the character is and I can appreciate it, but I don't know that I like her. Just think.
Well, that's why I said dislikable. I didn't say she was a bad character.
No, she's written very well, but I don't know that I'm a fan. I don't know. We'll see.
I like her because she seems to be the most realistic out of the game person. She wants money. Like, hey, if you want my service, you've got to pay me. And
Right.
once you get the payment, and once you tell me that I'm going to get the payment, I will help you. And she does. She doesn't sugarcoat it. She's like, hey, if you pay me, I will give you my full workforce. And then from there, it's great that we were able to see what she sees, because that definitely eased her into us, allowing us to, for her to like us a little bit more, or Yuma, I should say. So it then that softer side, the cat, when you're supposed to be looking for the floor plan, instead, show that she does have a soft side. And then at the end of both the labyrinth and at the end of this episode, she's proud of us of solving the case. So, and then she wasn't an arrogant type of prick throughout the whole entire time. She was rightly justified of saying, no, pay me and then I will help you.
No, there were a bunch of times, like in the labyrinth and whatnot, where she's like, "Oh yeah, so the answer is obvious," and Yuma's like, "What?" And she's like, "You haven't figured it out yet." Like,
well, she
I don't know,
knew.
like she came across as a tough love type mentor, you know.
Which is okay.
Yeah,
it's just
just not likable. I don't know.
I don't
she
know.
was not likable to me.
I'm not as stern as you, but I want something more. That's it. I just need something more before I can jump on board. Which I better get, because I assume I will.
Yeah, the whole like the money focus to me, like, you know, it's my pride as a detective. I don't know. It kind of just struck me as, I guess I use the phrase shallow.
Yeah,
like,
but it's
it
probably
made her seem like a shallow person.
It's probably like Leorio, right?
The money isn't the point.
It's a cover for something else.
It's a cover for everything that you were told.
Right, no, it's her way of being guarded.
I am competent. I know what I know. And for my skills, I want to be paid, because you're not going to give me any kind of appreciation if I do this for free. As the Joker said, if you're good at something, you never do it for free.
You want to see a magic trick?
Ta-da!
Not right before bed, anyway. Might give me nightmares.
I'm going to make this pencil disappear.
I'm going to make this pencil disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm picturing the scene now, and I'm a little disturbed. Great movie, though.
I still love that. The way that one scene was written, I'm like, that is such a great way to, like, instantaneously set the tone for his character.
I'm gonna make this pencil.
That's one of my favorites of all time.
The scene or the movie?
The pencil disappearing.
Yeah.
I don't. Just something about it. What's one of my favorite movies?
It's not about the money. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Hmm.
Yes, they do.
Thanks, Alfred.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how much of a role she has going on.
I know you aren't looking at the chat, but this is something that I saw on the trivia page, or on the page for the character. In the game's official popularity poll, Halara Nightmare was ranked first at 3,570 points.
Where?
Right there.
Oh.
That is not a surprise. It's not a surprise at all.
Who came in second?
I don't know, because I looked at the one person's page.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's probably that's for the best.
Yeah, you don't want to get a
for the best.
spoiler on accident.
You do not want to.
Hold on, let me look at the Chiefs page. Nope.
Oh yeah, you don't want to look at
You have to always be careful,
Oh,
because
look
what
at
if
the
a
cheese
character
page.
is somebody else?
Look at the Chiefs page, you said?
No.
Scroll down to the part that says spoilers. Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it says spoilers right at the top of the page. No, it does. It says,
"Oh, great.
Warning, this article contains major spoilers." I'm
Don't
not going
do
to
it,
look at
Pete.
this.
Surprise. I don't know. Time will tell, but and maybe she changes, but I don't know. I felt like they were another thing that made me not like her a little bit too much. They were going for a little bit too much of the badass thing. I tend to not like badasses for the sake of being a badass. And certainly, I feel like she's the closest to that of any of the options.
Well, because the other people are all just really... They're in their own world. She's the most competent so far.
But that's
That is
part
the word
of-
I used.
Right.
That's sort of what I mean by like.
Thunderbolt might turn out to be useful, but I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I tend to like the. I just think Bakugo when I see him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally reading Bakugo into him, but and he's totally. He's probably my favorite character in My Hero. Either him or Midori. I mean, I really
Well,
like
here's what's
Midori.
funny about that is Bakugo consistently gets the number 1, and he's not the main character. It's,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Dude, he's so good. Anyway,
That's
I
side
got
tangent.
nothing else.
So what?
I got
What
nothing.
was all that?
I love
Talking
how
about
every
anime.
time you talk, the eyes open up. For number
See
one.
to my eyes. What a great chapter. This game is very
Yes.
funky, weird, and a lot of fun.
I do hope they ramp the difficulty up. Like
They will.
It felt straightforward, but the first case of the original Dangan, extremely straightforward, right? So
Right. This is the first of a
there's
series,
plenty
probably.
of room for.
Do you remember the numbers written on the wall by the
Yeah.
victim?
Yeah, how easy
Which
was
clearly,
that?
which clearly were Leon upside down.
4037 or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
exactly. I wonder who did it. Anyway, this is the end of this recording. Until next time we'll go through the next chapter, right?
Chapter,
Yes.
Yep, chapter 2.
Number 2.
And since this one took about 7 hours, I'm guessing that will take between 7 and 10 hours.
Oh God.
So 3
Yeah,
weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah, chapter 1 is gonna be the more realistic time commitment for the rest of it.
This is a long ass game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 30, 40 hours. But there's a lot of this walking around and cutscenes and stuff like that. So
Point of it,
How
it's a
did
story.
yes.
Let me ask a question. Dialogue, are you guys skipping it or are you letting it voice act out?
I let some characters voice act out.
The reason I ask is 'cause
Oh, who are you cutting off?
Inagami until later.
She gets annoying.
Yeah.
Which is why I mentioned that she's Leon. Leon is so annoying half the time.
I was surprised that it took a full 7 hours. I mean, maybe the better part of an hour was those 4 quests, like 10 minutes.
When
apiece.
you think of a Danganronpa case, 7 hours is not anywhere near how long one of those takes.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you mean?
Those games.
They were a lot shorter.
Yeah, Danganronpa
Oh,
2,
I was
like,
gonna
the
say-
entire game is like 20, 25 hours.
Yeah.
But I feel like the third game it was.
V3 was a
were some
little
long
longer.
ones.
V3
There was
was
some-
There
longer.
were
Yeah.
some long cases, but I just feel like even going through the dungeon, this one feels a little slower paced. I can't quite put my finger on it. Like Dangan was quick.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
Whereas this feels slower paced. And while I certainly am more methodical and look at more stuff, which adds time, I still
think
don't think
we
you
all
could do. Yeah, I don't think you could do that case in less than 6 hours. That we just
I don't
did,
think so
unless
either.
were zipping past
You
it.
I think the
Can't-
voice acting, yeah.
You can't skip cutscenes.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that... John, you probably had the same problem, or same idea. You can't skip cutscenes, right?
I don't try.
I tried because I remembered all of the first case. I remembered all of the first part of the set, chapter 1. And I was just like, okay, let's roll. I'm like, no, you cannot do it.
And if you're trying to skip the dialogue, you still get the first, 7 words before you can then get to the next one, so...
Well,
Just
there's
the way to-
that, but then there's also the character animations still have to play out.
Right. So it doesn't matter if you skip the dialogue.
So even if the dialogue,
Scene, skipping it. So
say that again.
if it's a cut scene, so that there's dialogue that's written across the bottom, but it's not with a portrait, like normal dialogue that you can speed up. You cannot skip it. You must watch the whole thing play out.
Interesting.
Maybe a secret loading screen.
I don't think so. Well, if it was, the Switch version would have worked better.
But assuming there's 5 cases, I think this game's going to be between 40 and 50 hours for me.
Yeah.
Just if each case is 7 hours, times 5. I'm assuming
Long
5.
game. Lots of story.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're paying for it. Yep.
So we'll see if we can get the next one before Christmas.
We'll see. Hopefully.
Okay.
Maybe.
Certainly, if we don't, Christmas, I'm taking time off. I don't know if others are, but that might be an opportunity as well. Okay. We don't.
Not taking time off, but I mean,
do it on a Sunday night if we're all like off from work or something. That's all I was getting at.
If only.
My son and daughter have the complete 23rd through 3rd off.
Wow.
Right, so
yeah. I have plenty of time to do a chapter, or like maybe chapter 4 during that, or chapter 3, whatever chapter we're at by then. But
let's see.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Then that'll help you guys. See what we can do.
I could get the next chapter done on the 1st or the 8th.
I can't forecast my time that way. I barely managed to get this one done in time, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, no. I what I say is, let's shoot for meeting before Christmas.
Because I thought it wasn't gonna take 8 hours.
Yeah, right. Let's shoot.
I was
for
like,
meeting
5
before
hours?
Christmas.
I could get a couple hours here, a couple hours there. I'm like, no. This is not over. They want me to go.
Waiting for me.
No, they want me to go and check every one of the scenes. I'm like, oh no. The past crime scenes. I'm like, oh god. That's like 2 more hours. And I haven't even gotten to the dungeon.
Oh yeah.
The investigation was the longer piece in this case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was longer than the
dungeon.
It's not a bad thing. I'm not. I switched from. I was doing it at my desk, and I was recording it and all that. And I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it on the Steam Deck and play the game like I would prefer to play it, which is portably." I always liked playing those games. Well, I mean, with the Switch, it was kind of designed to be played portably, and then all the Danganronpa games were designed on portable systems, and so was what's the name of the game that we
999.
999, that series, and also AI.
Somnium
Files.
That's how I play those games. I realized that sitting at the desk trying to do this was killing me, so. In many ways. Physically, spiritually, mentally.
Well, I got the recording, so we're good.
I'm glad.
Listen to Japanese voices.
It's unfortunate.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll shoot for 3 or 4-ish weeks. See if we can get it done before Christmas.
Let's see what date. 15th.
4 weeks is 2 hours a week.
15th, 22nd, something like that.
Yeah.
A month from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll give it a shot.
We'll be back.
If someone's falling real behind or
I'll let you.
whatnot, or
It'll be me.
As people make progress, just keep throwing it out there so we have a gauge.
Aaron has infinite stamina. That's his trick, because he can play to like 4 in the morning.
Oh,
and
God,
me,
no.
I just die.
Yeah, dude,
not
from
you.
the night.
Not you. Maybe John. John probably could do it.
Dude,
me,
we
I'm
split
dying.
this up over. Like, I actually had to spend like an hour like cutting and stitching all the videos together in a sensical way.
Oh my lord.
Because we played 20 minutes at a time. We did 7 hours. 20
That's all
minutes at a time.
That's all we have. We can never play more than an hour.
So we did the slow and steady.
Yeah, I did a couple hours at a time.
Don't pull a me, and in the same day, same
24-hour period.
Yeah, same 24-hour period. Do it from midnight to 3 o'clock in the morning, and then 9 o'clock to noon. to finish up this chapter.
Wow.
You don't want to binge this.
No.
Take your
Also,
time. Do your
this
20
is-
minutes.
This is from past experience, is that sometimes, like, you'll get stuck. You'll inevitably get stuck in some case in something like that, and you already feel stupid. But you feel stupid, and then there's a time pressure on you, I would collapse.
Well, and then you get impatient and make more mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, where's my closest fetal position?
Oh man. All right, so
Okay.
15th, 22nd. We'll do it.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
Have a good